Do you know when it's appropriate to apologize and when it's not?
Today, we were listening to a podcast with Brene Brown and Harriet Lerner about apologies, and we thought we'd share a little of what we took away from it today because we think it's very applicable to business.
And one of the things is we don't learn to apologize well. As kids, when we apologize, what usually ensues is, yeah, and you know why, you get a lecture. And so kids we don't learn how to apologize. So when we grow up, we're not doing very well apologizing.
And sometimes it might be appropriate to actually tell someone later, give them a lesson, but it's actually not the best time to do it right when somebody takes that step to fully apologize and own something they've done.
Now, first, we want to just talk about why apologies are important. When something happens in a relationship and somebody's upset, it's a breakdown of trust. So the reason you do want to apologize is, one, the other person will feel seen and heard and validated. And two, for yourself, if I genuinely apologize, not habitually like, I'm sorry, but really actually acknowledge, I did that, I get to reclaim my power and integrity in the relationship. And three, it also builds trust in the relationship.
A lot of times people think that they're not going to be respected. Parents may think their children won't respect them if they apologize, or same thing can be said for a boss. You may not think your people are going to respect you if you apologize, but really just the opposite is true if you do it well. Now, there are some caveats because sometimes it's better to not apologize than to do it poorly. Doing it poorly can really break down a relationship even further.
So let's talk about how to do it poorly. So you don't do it, but it's when I apologize and I say, I'm sorry, but I was so busy and this is just what I had to do. I'm apologizing and giving an excuse afterwards. And that's not really a good apology.
Now, another situation is if I say to CrisMarie like, oh, I know that's a sensitive topic for you. I'm so sorry. That's not an apology. That has nothing to do with my behavior. I'm sort of actually giving her a little dig for being sensitive. And I think this sometimes happens at work.
It could happen in a meeting like, oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you and I know you're really sensitive to interruptions. Not really an apology. Don't do that.
The way to do that would be to say, I realize broke down our team thing, which was, I don't want to interrupt and I just did it.
That would be acknowledging your behavior, much more powerful. So those are some ways not to apologize. And also, when you're getting feedback, let's say you've gotten feedback like that you didn't accomplish what you were supposed to do, not a good time to apologize like, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I know I didn't do that. I should have done it. It really doesn't do anything to build trust with your boss in that relationship.
The best thing is to say, okay, I didn't get that done. And what you need is for me to get it done. Now, later, here's the other thing. If you do apologize, like let's just say you broke somebody's precious vase in their office because you came busting through, you would probably replace the vase. You don't just say, I'm sorry I broke your vase. You usually do something to reciprocate, to acknowledge it. The same is true, like if you are always doing something that you're apologizing for, and then you just keep doing it, that's not an apology.
No.
Your actions need to follow and be appropriate to demonstrate and support that you really genuinely did recognize and owned your behavior.
So if you're getting feedback, you didn't do something in that meeting, don't apologize. Instead say, you know what? I get it. I didn't follow through. And then before you apologize, actually make a plan to make sure you're going to follow through or get the help that you need. And then later do the apologies if you know you can back it up with action.
And if you're the boss, remember, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, hey, I'm sorry I didn't take care of that for you or acknowledge you. I'm going to make sure you get acknowledged. Actually make sure you acknowledge them, because if you don't, it actually breaks down the trust even more and makes the relationship harder to repair.
So I'm CrisMarie Campbell, and I'm a leadership coach, and I help leaders increase their performance by reducing their stress and improving their mindset.
And I'm Susan Clark, and I'm a leadership and relationship coach in the area of crisis, conflict, and change.
And together we're the authors of The Beauty of Conflict for Teams and The Beauty of Conflict for Couples. And we hope this tip helped you today.